What's up, guys? Drew here. Today I want to talk about Orgonite. But first, this Friday, ooh, what's the date? I don't know. Hold on, I'll tell you. The 31st, I will be doing a live with Erica on her channel about, it's kind of like the soul's journey kind of thing. It's mainly like past life regression, but talking about soul groups, things of that nature, kindred. I'm not exactly sure on the time, but I will, when I figure that out, the exact time, I will post that on my She Who Walks Facebook page. And I'm sure you could find it out on Erica's channel or on her Facebook or something of that nature. Erica's channel is called Raw Spirit, for those who don't know. And she's lovely. We'll be doing this live together, and I think it should be a lot of fun. She's a very intelligent, thoughtful, sweet woman, so I'm looking forward to it. Secondly, is anyone else having a problem with their allergies? Because, oh my gosh. I'm going to try to make it through this video, y'all, but it's just tingling in my nose constantly. I have my tissues, so hopefully I'm okay, but I mean, not last night, but the night before, I didn't get to sleep till 3 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't stop sneezing and blowing my nose, and that has never happened to me in my entire life. It's terrible. Yesterday, my husband came home from work and he felt terrible. He said he was like, "You look terrible." I felt horrible about it because he changed the filter out trying to help me out with my allergies, but I was like, "Oh, thanks, hun." But apparently my eyes were super bloodshot and puffy and the whole nine. So at any rate, I think I look okay right now. I look okay today. They itch, but I'm not touching them. I'm not going to scratch them. I'm not going to rub them, no matter how much they itch. I don't care. Back on topic. Orgonite. I only have 2 specimens of Orgonite, and they're both pretty small. I'm very picky about my Orgonite, and that's why I'm making this video in part. But here's one. It's very pretty. It's got lots of amethyst, but you can see it looks like a plastic with crystals and metal and stuff inside of it, basically. So this product, Orgonite, is based off of the research that was done by Dr. I'm going to kill this name. I think it's Whelm Reich. W-L-H-E-L-M. W-L-H-E-L-M. Yes. And he was a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I think he was a psychologist, but he might have been a psychiatrist. I do know this stuff, I just can't remember right now. One or the other, but he was very interested in what he referred to as orgone energy. Orgone energy is essentially life force energy. It's prana, it's chi, it's that whole thing. That's what he called it. And he did a lot of research, a lot of experiments, I suppose, trying to get a better understanding of this energy. So in his experiments, he found that organic material will attract and hold this life force orgone energy, and that inorganic material will both attract and repel this energy. So in this case, in the case of Orgonite, what we're talking about is a resin that is organic material that is attracting and holding this orgone energy, and then metal that is inorganic that is both attracting and repelling this orgone energy at the same time. So we're going to do another little side venture here. Sorry, this video is going to be all over the place. Forgive me. Many of you will know that my husband and I have an Etsy shop, and that we started making our hand-molded, herb-infused candles in 2007. And that it's a passion, and we sold them outside of the shop that I worked in, the metaphysical shop that I worked in. And when I left that shop, we didn't really have an outlet. We did shows and we'd sell to friends, but we decided to get on Etsy in 2016. And so now we have an Etsy shop where we sell all of our stuff. Well, eventually we are going to be selling our own Orgonite, and I will tell you why. It is because I have a passion about it. My husband and I have always been extremely drawn to it. We learned about it while I was working at Compass Rose, that metaphysical shop, and we were instantly drawn to it, even though we didn't really understand it. And through doing research about it and learning more about it, I became more drawn to and loved it even more. But there is such a thing as inferior Orgonite. And the vast majority that I see on the market, I would label inferior. And that's annoying. Because it's not like a crystal that you dig up out of the earth and it's just going to do what it do. It's just going to do what it do. It is designed and it should be put together properly so that it does what it's intended to do, which I promise I'll get to. But if it's not put together properly, it doesn't do it properly. I'm not going to say it doesn't do it at all. I'm not going to say it's defective and it doesn't work at all, but it definitely doesn't work the way it should, as well as it should. My husband and I, we decided last year that we would make our own and sell it. We are not currently doing that. I have no idea when that will happen because we really want it to be right. We are very passionate about the things we do and the things we make. Like even just now, I've never noticed this before, but I'm looking at this in the light and I can see imperfections all over the outside of this Orgonite here, this little pyramid. Only on two sides. Yeah, only on two sides, but there are little inconsistencies and imperfections, and that's the easiest way to see that something is, to be like, oh, well, that's not great. And we don't want that. We want our product to be really good. We want to avoid air bubbles. We want to use the best molds, and so we're doing all this research on all that. We're also trying to figure out where we want to source all of our materials. It's something that we want to do on a large scale, not a huge scale, but a large scale. And so, it's going to take us time to collect all the materials we need because it's not exactly an expensive endeavor. But eventually, at some point, we will make and sell our own Orgonite. And at the very least, we will make it for ourselves because I want legitimate, real deal Orgonite that was made properly. Actually, these little imperfections that are on the outside of here, we have as of yet tried to make any, so I can't really complain. These aren't, it's not terrible. They just look like little watermarks, like when you wash something in a dishwasher and it sometimes leaves little watermarks. They just kind of look like that on one side, and you don't even see it unless you shine it in the light just so. So, I still think this is a beautiful piece, even if it is inferior. And that's not even the reason I think it's inferior. I'm going to get to that, I promise. Right now. So when you make Orgonite, it should be a 50-50 mix between organic and inorganic material. True Orgonite that is going to do its job properly is going to be a 50-50 mix. And typically you're going to see crystals and minerals within any specimen of Orgonite. I'm calling it a specimen. It's not really a specimen, but whatever. And that does a couple things. One of which is makes it aesthetically pleasing and makes it pretty. This piece is much prettier. It's a purpley, beautiful purple. So it's really pretty with all of its amethyst up in there. I really enjoy this piece. I still think it's pretty because it's all these different colored metals and stuff in it. But, some people might look at this. It's definitely a lot more dull, especially at a distance, than this beautiful amethyst one. So the crystals help add beauty to the product, but that's not their primary function. Quartz has a piezoelectric property, which means that when it's compressed, it gives off energy. And there are a lot of crystals and minerals that are in the quartz family. Just to name a few, citrine, amethyst, rose quartz, smoky quartz, chalcedony, carnelian, jasper, agate, petrified wood, and sardonyx. And there are a ton more. I've got a huge list. So when we make our Orgonite, we can put all kinds of stuff in there. any of those crystals within the quartz family have that piezoelectric property, which means when they're compressed, they'll give off energy. And that's exactly what happens in the process of making orgonite. This resin is poured over the materials, and as it cures, as it dries and hardens, it compresses everything inside of it. So it is activating that piezoelectric property of quartz. Within the orgonite, the properties of the organic material are constantly attracting this orgone, this life force energy, while the metal is both attracting and repelling the inorganic material, and thus you have this scrubbing. So these are constantly scrubbing the environment around them. And that charge, that piezoelectric charge of the quartz, is clearing any disharmonious or stagnant energy that it comes into contact with. Orgonite is also said to be an excellent tool for blocking electromagnetic energies from our person, the waves and the frequencies from TVs and computers and things of that nature. So now let's talk about what makes inferior and superior orgonite. This piece is inferior, absolutely. If you look at it, it's very pretty, but you see that you mostly see amethyst, and like there's a little blurb of metal right here. Most of the pieces I see on the market, this is how they are. I would consider this piece inferior as well. I think it's superior to the other piece, even though it's not necessarily as beautiful, but this is mostly metal, which is fine because it's the resin is the organic material while the metal is the inorganic. And because it's only those two things, that's part of the reason why I consider it superior to the other, because this has such a little amount of metal in it that it's not going to be able to do its job properly. But even more importantly, orgonite should be distributed evenly. Okay, the ingredients should be distributed evenly. There should be an even layer of crystals and then metal, and then crystals and then metal. It should be 50-50. So there should, like with this one, this is probably 50-50. 50-50 metal, 50-50 resin. So it's a pretty good specimen, even though it's not layered. This one, however, is almost all organic material, very little inorganic material. It's not going to be able to do what it's supposed to do as effectively. So I like crystals. We are definitely going to be using crystals in our orgonite. So there will have to be a layer of the crystal, a layer of the metal, and resin in there too. A layer of crystal, a layer of metal, resin all around too. It takes a lot longer to make orgonite that way. It takes a lot of patience and dedication to doing it properly. It's much faster just to dump everything in and let it sit, because it takes hours to cure. So I don't even know how long. I don't even remember. It's been a while since I've studied how to, the exact process of making it. So it may even take, a day to cure. I don't remember. But so how many days will it take to make a big pyramid if you're making it layer by layer by layer? Let's say you make 7 layers. That could take you a full week to make one piece of orgonite. But if you're doing it right, that's how you do it. Anyway, I hope all of that made sense. And it's kind of my PSA for the witchy spiritual community. There's a lot of orgonite on the market, but it may look pretty and it may be nice, and if you want it, buy it. But if you want it for the properties that it's supposed to possess, look very closely at the pieces to distinguish whether or not they've been made properly. I don't know how good this video is. It seems like it's crazy. Maybe it's my allergies. I'm not at the top of my game. I don't know. Thank you for putting up with me, guys. And until next time, much love and gratitude.